Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio, number 198.
Oh.
Wow, we're getting so close.
That's Eric over there.
Hello.
That's Vanessa over there.
Hello.
I'm Kelly. Vanessa, I need to know, did the wedding go off without a hitch, or did you indeed get hitched?
So many tricks to that question. Yeah, the wedding happened. It occurred. I'm a married human being who is married to another human being, and that's very exciting. Like any wedding, of course, there's little bumps along the way. Not everything went perfect, but went pretty well overall.
Nice. Sorry, boys. She's taken.
Yeah.
And
girls.
Yes.
Cover all your bases, huh?
Well, you know.
You women back off.
That's right.
There's pretty ones out there.
I went up to Bellingham yesterday to spend some time with my dad on his birthday, and my mom made sure to tell me to tell Vanessa congratulations on her wedding.
Oh,
Nice.
thank you so much to your mom. That's so kind.
She also said, I sure like Eric's voice. And I was like, I'm not sure where this came from, and I'm sitting right here, Mom.
So, yeah, I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah. Yeah, she
That was
just
a
likes that
first.
you seem happy and you laugh a lot.
Oh, okay, that's
Aw.
fine.
I was
That
like-
can be very approachable.
I was like,
hear.
I'm trying to break him of that.
Yeah, good luck.
We
I'll
don't need
also-
3 Kellys on the show.
I'll,
You know what?
I'll also toss in as a attendee of the wedding. It was very cool, and it was so you. And
Yeah.
I'm assuming, I don't know, I'm glad as well. But I mean, like they had geek vows
Oh.
and dorky things going on all over the place, playing video games, a pizza truck for the
Oh,
catering.
I was going to ask if pizza was catered.
Oh, yes. It was really good
Yeah.
pizza too. We taste tested a lot of pizza to get the right pizza.
Right.
But yeah,
I
no.
think champagne was odd. I'm not a big champagne guy. That champagne was really good.
The champagne was from Costco.
It was, hey,
Oh,
no disparagement.
I am a
from-
huge fan of the champagne from Costco.
It was actually pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a huge overall wine genre fan, but yeah, that was really good. And that was actually really important to us. We were just like, you know what? If we're going to do this, we're going to make it like our thing. And who cares if people don't get the Brundlefly reference, which was in the vows? They're just going to have to catch up. And Grandma seemed to, laugh in all the right places. So
Very nice. I'm most interested to find out that your husband is the heir to a wine legacy now.
I mean, that assumes.
Just let's leave it at that.
Yes. Yes.
And
yes.
I will be befriending him much more.
But yes, the Mangata winery at Resurgent Vineyard. Yes. I know nothing of wine, so don't ask any specific questions.
Well, I'm going to assume that Mangata does not make their own bubbles then. Otherwise, why wouldn't that have been?
No, they don't. They're very new. So they've only been around a year and a half. They bought the Resurgent Vineyard, which has been around a little bit, and apparently the vineyard has extremely good reviews, but I don't know, something about rocks.
Oh,
Sure.
this winery rocks.
There you go.
It does. It grows out of they grow through the struggle of the vine to make it through the rocky ground next to a creek. Somehow it changes the taste. I really would have no idea.
Shut up. Give me a bottle and a straw.
There you
All
go.
right, done.
Well, how was your weekend? You had an alternative version.
I did. Let me just start out with this. I probably should have gone to the wedding.
Oh.
And I'm only saying that because the first night I saw some films.
Mhm.
It was really cool. And then, we all go to the Moon and Sixpence afterwards.
Yeah.
And there's a big, huge, long table where everybody sits and chats and all that stuff. And in walks in my ex-girlfriend from 10 years ago.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I'm standing, and she kind of plants herself with the guy she's seeing, like right in my line of sight. It took me a minute to figure out what was going on, but somebody leaned over to me and said, "Is this on purpose?" And I realized, I think it is. I think she's waiting to see what my response will be, right? And my response was nothing. But then she came and sat at the table.
Ah,
Right?
that's so gross.
It was
Dig in
fine.
for the response.
The thing is that so I basically ghosted the rest of the festival. Andrew Migliori
man.
took me to all sorts of distilleries and cool restaurants and all of that
cool.
stuff. And it's not so much that I hate her and I can't stand to see her, but you guys know about my anxiety, and what I did not want was that turning a corner and bumping into someone and having to pretend that you don't see each other, which happened a total of 5 times during the
Whoa.
festival,
Oh my god.
where
Wow.
we turned, were right in front of each other, kind of averted our eyes and just moved on. And I was like, God, this is so stupid. Literally every other girlfriend I've been with, the millions of women I've been with, if I were to bump into them on the street, it's a hug and oh my
Right.
God, so
These are
nice
still
to see you.
friends.
That kind of stuff.
I can verify that. I mean, I've known you a long time. I've known a whole lot of the women you've dated.
Yeah.
And solid 90% or more, he still get along with just fine.
Just fine.
Yeah.
Too fine. Some people.
Well, I wasn't going to mention that.
It's hard. I mean, I've had that experience with an ex at Crypticon where for a
Oh.
couple years it was like in PAX like that they were in the same circles and
Yeah.
it was like hell. It
It's
was
a
pure
weird
hell.
feeling.
Aw.
However,
Yes.
the festival took a great turn when Eric, do you remember about 5 years ago, there was one guy who was one half of the comedy duo Chuck and Dexter,
Oh, yeah.
who did a one-man version of Rats in the Walls live.
Right.
Rats in the Walls, my favorite Lovecraft story, the first Lovecraft story I ever read. And he performs this pacing back and forth on stage in period correct garb, telling this story. And it's an hour-long presentation. I mean, it's all up in his head. It's amazing. He was there doing that again. And so I made sure to catch that. And then Andrew said, hey, do you mind if I invite Tim? Tim Urin is his name. Mind if I invite Tim to come to dinner with us? And I'm like, God, I would love that. Because I kept thinking to myself, there's a way to turn this performance into a film.
Oh, wow.
So he and his wife came, and then it turned out that the other half of Chuck and Dexter was also there, a guy named Joseph Scrimshaw. And these two people are literally the funniest human beings I have ever met. I loved that I could make a joke, and unlike my current podcast host friends, they would just be like, oh, yes, and they'd make the joke even funnier and funnier instead of just shutting me down immediately when I tell a joke. So it was a love that would last till lunchtime. We became fast friends, and Joseph and I really hit it off because we started talking podcasts, and he's like, yeah, I've got a podcast. And, oh, I've got a podcast. And, I feel a little embarrassed after I looked at his podcast, which is called Force Center. It is a Star Wars specific podcast, which was great for me. It is in the top 0.5% of podcast
Oh my
downloads.
Holy
He makes a living off of his podcast.
Well, then it's a good. This is a guy you should definitely keep in contact
I've
with.
listened to his episodes and I've been reaching out. I'm just now this geeky guy who's a friend who's now become a fan also. I'm like, hey, have you guys ever spoken about this? I'm really interested in your take on this. And I'm sure he's like, well, there's 1,200 episodes. You could probably find something about that. They literally release like 3 episodes a week.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible.
But then the next day we're hanging out and everything. We're talking about collections and all this stuff. And he collects vinyl records. And I was
Sure.
like, yeah, me too. And he's like, oh, really? What do you collect? Because I mostly stick to Sinatra. And
Jesus.
and then, yeah, I know. Andrew, grabs me, shaking me. Kelly used to sing in a Sinatra band. And Joseph's like, what? And the hearts in our eyes were just, everybody just kind of left us alone. They couldn't talk to us. We were just too wrapped up in each other. Then that night I stayed up until 4:30 in the morning drinking with him. And it was a really, really great festival. In fact, Eric,
Very
it was
cool.
the best festival I've ever been at.
I figured it would be.
Yeah.
Guy not dragging me down. Now I'm meeting new people.
It was really something else. But the bumping into the ex was weird. I think it was uncomfortable for everyone because the people who are my friends, Eric, unfortunately, you have had to deal with her, and
Yeah.
she's
Interesting.
a challenge.
Yeah, I feel like that's often how these things go though. They're a real roller coaster ride of moments of harrowing, oh my God, why am I here? And then all of a sudden, like, oh my God, this is the best decision I've made. I have a great new friend, or I've made a great career move, or there's always that strange tide that happens when you attend events. So I'm so glad that it ended on such a good note. And your ex needs to get the fuck over it.
Oh, she's totally over it. I
Uh-huh.
mean,
Oh yeah.
She's so over it. That you're describing somebody who's extremely over it to me.
well, I was a little surprised because when we split, we kind of said, all right, I'll stay out of your way, you stay out of my way. Lovecraft Film Festival is mine,
Mhm.
and she had her conventions and all of that stuff. And I was just like, yeah, no need for us to ever bump into each other. Apparently the moratorium is off, and
Has it been 10 years?
it's been 10 years or more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
She probably is like, oh, it's fine now.
I guess so. I was kind of like, well, what are you doing here? This was never your thing. You never liked these people or this event. So, but people change.
It's
Yeah.
hard. It's
So-
hard. I have my personal opinions about what's probably going on inside our ticker, but you know what? Does not matter. You had a great time.
I did have a
There
great
you
time.
go. Yeah.
I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked. We both had a very lovely week.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry I missed the wedding though.
Well, I'm sorry I missed HP Lovecraft Film Festival.
We
Thank you
should
for
totally-
joining for this very special episode of Strange Jams Radio. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Don't do drugs, kids.
You know what? I'm not sorry that I. Wait a second. How am I going to do this with the double negative? What did I am sorry that I missed. No, hold on. Here's something I watched that I did not like.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
Interview with the Vampire, the series, is
Uh-oh.
out now.
I've heard nothing. I mean, nothing even remotely like, oh, this all right. It's
Really?
vitriol.
I totally have heard people be like, wow, that was pretty cool. And I was like, oh, I haven't had time to get to it.
I guess it just depends on what you want out of the show. What I
Mm.
would have loved was a retelling of the book that, hewed closer to the book than the film did, which would have been
Yeah.
tough, but, brought up to modern day. It's just not working for me. I think the dialogue is really, really bad. The acting is a little hammy. And Eric, you and I have talked about this. Instead of this, I would have much rather seen a Vampire Lestat series.
Yeah, that would have been
We could have
great.
started kind of fresh and retold it through his eyes, and then the changes would have made sense.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. Just a real disappointment for me.
Man,
Bummer.
that is rough. And not even like the gay love being very obviously gay. That didn't save it.
I don't care one way or the other. It's definitely there, but I don't think that it's as I don't think the gay love makes it closer to the story when you take out part of Louis's history, which was he
Oh.
was a slave owner in the book and all of that stuff, and that stuff should be kind of talked about and dealt with. Instead, they've turned him into a black vampire
Right.
who is a
They're like
like a
healing the
brothel
story.
or a brothel, yeah, brothel
Bothel.
for a day or a lifetime, a brothel owner, and I'm like, this is certainly does not have any of the gravitas
Weird.
that somebody who used to be a slave owner we could play with in today's climate and really have some interesting conversation in a climate
Yeah.
now where sex workers are championed. Owning a brothel doesn't make you a bad guy, right? So
I
Yeah.
also always felt that the books, maybe more so than the movie, were they're more or less asexual, and sex is just how they get their food. It's not so much that they were looking to become married and hang out and
Sure.
have relationships. So, however the sexuality would be, for me, it always seemed like it was whatever they needed it to be
a matter of
wherever they were.
convenience.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I saw so much stuff.
How? On your honeymoon?
No, I'm not doing that. So in the meantime, I've been watching a lot of movies. But I did manage to watch the first 2 episodes of The Midnight Club last night. Which is
Oh,
the new Flanagan joint.
Yeah, I'd
so
like to.
much stuff has popped up in the last 2 or
It's
3 weeks. I forgot
crazy.
about that.
It is crazy.
Do you like it?
I do. I will say, I mean, it is very much playing with the trope of "Are you afraid of the dark?" It knows that it's trying to mess with like kind of a cheesy 90s teen thing, so it's set in the 90s, and it's not cheesy, but it's exploring some of those routes. There's a couple of weird things about it, and I couldn't quite figure out why they were doing it. I was like, is this a budget thing? Like, there's a lot of scenes that are way too clean and like shot like there's not a dirty thing in the room. Like, it looks just really bizarre. And then somebody told me that it was set during or shot during COVID. So it's like a COVID project. And I was like, that explains a lot, because they're probably like, let's get in and out. Who cares? Like, let's just roll through this. It does have that sort of separated quality where things just feel a little bit strange. But I was like, it's not a big deal. I don't think they're trying to go for perfection. This is not going to be the next, whatever his last Midnight Mass.
You mentioned "Are You Afraid of the Dark"? Is it a young teen, or what do they call it?
It's
YT?
it's like
YA?
an 18. Yeah, it feels yeah, YA is probably accurate. It's set for like 18-year-olds, roughly in that age group. Like, that's who the characters are. But it definitely has a YA quality to it where they're not doing anything too crazy, but it is edgier. I would say it's probably not appropriate for, I don't know, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds. It's definitely on the upper end of the teens. And they give it a backstory that's very useful, but it is still story of the week. So it's, telling a story and watching it come out. But each of those stories gives us a little more information about those main characters and helps us lead through a bigger mystery that's happening in the space that they're in.
Huh. And it's called Midnight Club.
Mhm.
I watched the first episode, and I haven't gotten back to it.
Fair. I've only gotten through the first 2, but I'm excited to see where it goes. I mean, it's Flanagan, and I'm excited because he's, gotten only better and better. So, knock on wood.
It's better more often than not.
Yeah, thank you. That's the right way to put it.
Was this a surprise to you guys? Because when I saw it and I saw his name, I was like, did I know he was doing something this Halloween?
People kept telling me, like, my friends are always texting me crap about things that are happening soon. Like, I don't know. Like other large movies that come out, and I'm like, I don't have time for this. I'll get to it someday. And this was definitely one of them that people have been telling me about for probably a few months. And I'm like, what? Okay, I'll process that later. And then I was like, oh, it's here. That thing that somebody mentioned to me at some point in a text. Hey, okay, I guess I'll watch it.
Well, you have had a lot on your mind lately.
There's been a lot going on. Yes. Not to mention the sweep of COVID in the wake of my event.
There you go.
Yeah.
I saw one that actually surprised the hell out of me. I thought, oh, well, we'll see this. A new movie popped up on the Shudder stream thing. I thought, well, I haven't watched this one yet. It's Deadstream.
I also just watched this.
It blew me away. I'm thinking, well, this looks so dumb. It's the story of a YouTube prankster guy who's done something stupid and is trying to make a comeback by going to this haunted house. It's fucking great.
Really? Okay. I watched about 20 minutes of it and then turned it off.
Well, it's found footage, so I wasn't going to recommend it
Right.
to you.
Right.
Even though it's technically not found footage, it's live streaming footage. So it's happening as it's happening. So you're not viewing this 20 minutes or 20 years later or whatever. He's actually streaming it live because he's talking to the people online and everything's actually happening. It was just kind of a Sam Raimi comedy level, which it gets to later.
Interesting you say that. I heard people comparing it to Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say that same thing. It feels very Raimi at points, and I don't love slapstick, but it was pretty funny when you're dealing with somebody who's a jackass style. Yeah, dude.
It escalates to it too, because it really doesn't start out that way. It starts out fairly straightforward. Okay, the first 5 minutes, I'm going, man, they recreated this asshole kind of action really well. I mean, this is like 50% of YouTube represented right here. But But as it progresses along and shit starts to go worse and worse for him, the comedy builds. I was just really surprised at how much I liked it.
Solid ending.
Yeah.
And then when we see the ghost or whatever, they look groovy.
Yeah, they're fine. They're
I think they're practical. Are they?
some look pretty practical and some look decent. They're it's not anything like, oh my God, or it's just that works.
Yeah, it's not propping itself up on the hope that people will like how the ghosts look. I think it's propping itself up on this guy's an idiot and he's pissed off all these entities and they're fucking done with him. And I think that works so well for me, especially because it's like this guy that he's awful. So the response of ghosts, I don't know, just attacking him any way, shape, or form. You're like, yeah, it doesn't have to make sense. Get him.
Yes, exactly.
Well, clearly I need to give this another chance. Oh, okay. Well, something I did see that I absolutely loved, and I imagine you guys have seen it as well, was Werewolf by Night.
I have not.
What
you know
the
why?
fuck, Eric?
You know why I didn't see You know why I didn't see Werewolf by Night? You know why I didn't see Halloween Ends? Because the goddamn Mariners played 2 freaking games yesterday. 18 innings, 7+ hours.
Oh my God.
I would have watched both of those today. If
Who
it wasn't for
won?
that
I was
game.
not paying attention.
It wasn't the Mariners.
Yeah, Saying on the right
so
game.
sorry.
It was. So, yeah, no, that's why I didn't watch either of those. They were in the pipeline for me to watch yesterday.
Okay.
Nope.
What a season.
That is true. For the first time, if any of you are on like Facebook or Instagram or wherever I put it, for the first time in a long time, I'm looking forward to next season. So that's cool. But Werewolf by Night, how was it?
Vanessa, did you get a chance to see this?
I did not.
Oh, boy. I don't know what to say
I had to
then.
finish all the other fucking shows that decided to happen during this
So
month.
many, man.
There's so many.
I'll say this, as a huge Werewolf by Night fan from the 70s, this is nothing like that.
Okay.
I loved this.
Nice.
I thought it was fantastic.
Oh.
I love the guy they've got playing the Werewolf by Night. I loved Man-Thing, even though he is not at all the Man-Thing from the comics.
Huh, interesting.
They've basically turned him into the next Groot, and I'm kind of okay with that.
That's awesome. I could see that. Because
You
he
know-
really doesn't have a personality.
No, he's a void of emotion. He just feeds on whatever emotion you are having. And they basically said, that's going to be tough to do in a film. So we're going to make him, quite honestly, he steals the show. He's quite lovable in this, even though he still has the power of burning people to death.
For sure.
And I thought the black and white wasn't quite what they were trying to make it look like. It was a little too clean, but the acting was great. The effects were great. The story was really fun. It was basically just a Most Dangerous Game kind of story,
Oh,
which,
nice.
I had to admit, I was like, hey, I just wrote something like this a couple of years back with a werewolf involved. So I guess I'll toss that one away also. I can't say enough good things about it. I've watched it twice, actually.
Oh, cool.
And it just underscores what I've been saying. It's an hour long.
Mhm.
That is all this needed. I would much rather see shows get turned into a 2-hour movie that could just air on Disney Plus and maybe not air in the theaters instead of these series that, 6 episodes here or 12 episodes there, and half of them are filler to make their series count. I don't like that kind of stuff, but I really loved the economy of this Werewolf by Night story.
Interesting. That's cool. So, did it feel darker than most Disney products?
Well, yeah, but it's got a pretty good sense of humor about itself. And I mean, it's bloodier and stuff like that, but it's shot to look like an old Universal horror film.
Yeah.
So the blood is minimal, and at times, there's a couple of limbs that get lopped off, and it looks like something you would have seen in the 30s. It's like, there was never an arm in that sleeve anyway.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, speaking of Disney, I guess I might as well talk about one of the shows that I finished off, which was She-Hulk.
Mm.
Did anybody else finish that show?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I thought it was a pretty personally, I thought it was kind of a mediocre ending. I mean, it was fine. It just felt like really anticlimactic to me, but a lot of people loved it, and that's great, and I'm happy for them.
I enjoyed it because it just got so. It's like, you know what? We're going to be a little surrealist with her talking,
Yeah.
breaking the fourth wall. Screw it. Let's just go blazing saddles at the end of this. And
Right.
absolutely.
I kind of wish they'd
Crazy.
done more of it throughout. I wish it hadn't been sprinkled so lightly at the beginning where it almost felt like a strange mistake. I wish they'd just been like really this
Yeah.
far in the whole time.
That would have been good.
Yeah, I hated it.
Shocking.
Shocking.
Found it incredibly insulting. As a writer, you know, at least for me, I plot a story. I always know where my ending is going. You
Right.
have to know where your ending is going so that you can set up little clues and hints and foreshadowing and all of that stuff.
Sure.
If their ending was going to be, we're going to set up all this shit and then not have to pay any of it off, that pisses me off as a writer, and it pisses me off as a viewer.
Well, you'll
Just
be thrilled to know that they've been greenlit for season 2 then.
Yeah, most of my dislike for the show is how She-Hulk looks.
Sure.
I just think that she looks very cartoony and it doesn't quite look right. And so I'm kind of like, this is really hard to get into for a cinematic universe that is so heavy on special effects. These special effects are pretty shoddy, and so that always pulls me out. The humor isn't quite funny enough for me. And don't get me wrong, plenty of things I liked in this show. I loved the reintroduction of Daredevil and Matt Murdock,
Yes.
Yeah.
and the fact they had a little one-night stand, and he left doing the walk of shame,
Oh,
carrying
God,
his Daredevil boots.
Good.
All of that stuff, I thought that kind of humor worked really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the Abomination stuff where
Yeah.
now he's like, a self-help guy,
Yes.
and like
Yeah.
it really turned around that whole character. There was a lot in there, and I really like the actress personally. I think she's
For sure.
super lovable, super cute, super well. She's doing a great job.
Yes.
I personally don't mind the character design, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard to have a TV show with huge CGI needs.
Yeah, I totally understand that. The Kevin robot thing, I was like, boy, this is cocksucking of the highest order. This is jerking off into a fan and just getting all your own cum all over yourself.
Oh my
Look at all the
God.
love I'm getting.
I'm so sorry, Mom.
I'm actually sorry about that too, Mom. Eric, cut all that out.
I'll think about that. Yeah. And then I'll toss in that I was a little surprised by the teaser ending. Because this will be my first foray more into the Marvel geekdom that you frequently bathe
Yes.
yourself in. That storyline comes from one of the largest storylines in Hulk. This one called Planet Hulk, where Hulk is kicked off of planet Earth by the Avengers and all the heroes because he's out of control and they don't want him on the planet anymore. So I'm like, well, that is not the setup that's been going on through all of She-Hulk. It's just, he's just off planet hanging out someplace doing some shit.
The problem being that Planet Hulk story got bastardized into Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
So, it felt like a really
Interesting.
last minute addition.
Yeah.
It was gross. As soon as I was like, oh my God, this is so stupid. I don't even know I don't know the storyline.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going, but just as somebody who's outside of it, I was like, great, cool.
Well, I was just last week reading some of that Hulk Scar story,
Mm.
and I stopped reading the issues because it's not good.
Oh, no.
I'm like, I don't care. I was really getting to Hulk for the last few months because I came across some very strange, surreal, like Hulk in Hell storylines and
Oh, yeah.
crazy shit going on. I was like, wow, this is neat. Then I started reading the Scar story. I'm going, this is dumb.
Remind me, he comes to Earth to kill Hulk, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a really dark storyline. He comes to kill his
Should have
father.
been.
Yeah.
didn't go very dark for very long.
yeah.
That was
Let
the
me just put
problem.
it this way for everyone out there who's going, oh, Kelly can't handle a female-driven story. I'll say this. You men and women who want these female-driven stories, you should be demanding better. You should be demanding better than She-Hulk,
There's
not defending it. You
It's-
should be going, hey, this I get that this is meant for me, but I deserve better.
oh my gosh, there's so much to
I
unpack.
could say I don't think I've seen a litany of women going crazy about hating She-Hulk. I've seen a lot of guys doing it, but
I've seen a lot of women who are extremely pro She-Hulk from a feminist perspective.
from that perspective, I mean, just in general, as far as like liking the show or not championing it as being something important, but just as a TV show, I've seen like, not all. I mean, Dina was not hugely impressed with it, partially because she doesn't like surrealist stuff. She's like, "This is-"
Sure.
Yeah.
She's like, where's this going?
But I mean, there's the people that champion it as being something important, but then there's also the people that someone I think mistakenly is accusing you of attacking it pointlessly as, well, this is just patronizing to whatever, and it doesn't give me what I want out of She-Hulk, so it must be terrible, and it must only be placating to a certain crowd, so it just sucks by virtue of that.
Definitely walking on a double-edged sword
Yeah.
because it's like pre-addressing the people who are trying to tear it down, which can be very clever and can be seen as very proactive and an interesting, strong approach, especially from a female perspective, to be like, okay, these are the trolls. This is the kind of shit they're going to say, and this is why they're stupid, and we're going to make fun of them. That's great, but it also limits. It is only going to be receptive for this period of time right now. It will age very poorly. And that is tough. Like, it feels so short-sighted to me, and it's not great storytelling. It's empowering for like a second, but I don't know. There's something a little bit lackluster within that.
Yeah, I just think that, I mean, this is a show that probably should have come out in 2002. It feels like, what we were watching on Fox back then and stuff like that. But, 20 years later, it comes off as, I think, already dated poorly. I think there's interesting stories you could tell if you want to tell this kind of story that are better. It would not surprise me to find out that the writer's room is packed full of men in this show, trying to figure out what would be a good story.
Yeah, I think we're in a period, we're in an age right now where we're starting to figure out what female stories are, and the girls get it done bullshit is crap, and I hate it. But Harley Quinn is fucking incredible and true.
Yeah.
So you're trying to find this correct line. And I know the same thing happened when women started being kind of allowed to write books for the first time ever. The first 100, 200, 300 books that women general as a mass put out were mostly bad because it was like the first time people let them. And so they had to kind of figure out what that voice looked like, what that narrative was structured like, how to do it right, how to use the tools and get those tools in their hands to produce great content. And I think that this is a replication of that process. So it's going to take a minute to get the cream of the crop, and we're going to see little awesome things popping up here and there, but there is going to be some crap out there too.
Yeah, I just, with Marvel being such a huge thing, Disney and everything, and of course, everything is written by committee, so they can't really,
that's the hard part.
take real risks. But I am almost positive that the new Black Panther will be really strong. And what's the difference? Is it just that they're willing to give that kind of attention to
financial proven success, and also an additional amount of here you go, we're sorry because your star died, so you guys get a little extra space to do something interesting and creative beyond what we would have already given you.
Sort of like Captain America. The first Captain America was not the best.
Right.
It was after they showed it was really good. Hey, let's do a really juicy story, and you got a really freaking great Captain America movie.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, exactly.
Who would have thought we'd talk this long about a Disney show?
Well, hey, I can just totally ruin the moment and come up with the next movie that I watched, which is completely pointless and hilarious.
Oh, good. Go on.
The incredibly strange creatures who stopped living and became mixed up zombies! Exclamation point, question mark.
Oh,
Oh, is
I-
this an old or a new film?
I was not expecting that question mark. I'll tell you that.
That's there. Ray Dennis Steckler. It's the latest Severin box set of a crazy low rent director.
Oh no, no, Eric.
That's right, man.
The journey,
Al
journey you go
Adamson
on.
and Milligan, and now
Oh my God.
Steckler. This guy also stars in a lot of his movies.
You have seen like all of Spielberg and Scorsese. You've done those
Yeah.
first, right? Okay. So you've actually hit the good ones at least. Now that you're at the trash bottom of the absolute barrel.
But it was like 2 or 3 episodes ago, I was talking about Russian deep art filmmakers.
I'm impressed.
Tchaikovsky.
I'm so impressed with what you sit through, but then you get to these box sets of these people, and I'm like, you deserve better, Eric. Who is making you do this? Point to them in the picture. We will make sure they're removed from your life.
This one's fascinating. Joe Bob does the intro for it from years ago. Looks like maybe even like early 90s. But he talks about how, and yes, every time you do that, it has to have the 2 exclamation points and the question mark. And it has no less than, I think, 6 musical numbers, all of which were performed on the same day with no rehearsal.
Whoa.
Gets better and better.
Oh, it's a fascinating mess, but it's so stupidly fun to watch. Yeah, that's about all you can say about
Is it so bad it's good, or like is it genuinely got moments of good, or is there nothing?
These 3 directors that they featured
Yeah.
are incredibly well selected because they have a weird quality to them. And generally the first movie or 2 you watch from the box, you're like, God, what am I in for? And then you get into it and you start to see how these guys were making their movies, and they become very interesting. If you just watch this as a one-off and never watch another one of his films, I would understand. But being in the box set, going, oh, let's check out another one, you get the feel. Milligan is probably the best for that because he is by far the worst technical filmmaker of the group. But it's just an interesting study in the way film and art and all that shit is made. As I'm over here reading the story of film at the same time, where the guy's talking about the influence that I think currently he's talking about the influences the Vietnam War had in the way the French were doing film. So I'm getting my pretension as well.
Okay. That's very important.
That's right.
How many films are in this box set?
20, I believe.
No.
my gosh.
I'm not sure if I'm going to be watching all of them because there's some, shall we say, adult films from the early 70s.
Oh gosh.
Not an era that I'm particularly interested in. So I don't know if I'm going to be watching all of his porn films, but the other ones will definitely get watched.
All right. Look forward to hearing this name come up a few times in the future.
I'm just glad that you made time for this, but 0 time for Werewolf by Night.
Well, I watched this like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's fair.
Well, okay. Just send those porn films over here. I'll do the review of those.
Sure.
How about we take a little break, and then when we come back, we are talking Full Moon Pictures.
In Andre Toulon's haunted attic, 2 of the puppet master's most fiendish creations have broken free in sizes that will startle you. Full Moon Toys proudly introduces a shocking new line of action figures with blade and 6-shooter. Now you pull the strings of the 2 biggest stars from the Smash Puppet Master video series. strike a pose, and help Blade do battle with a hand that switches from stiletto to hatchet. And eyes that light up the night. Six-shooter will always be on target when you aim his 6 arms, each one packing a chrome pistol. Then, on the rampage soon from Full Moon Toys, are the Totem and Tunneler. Blade and Six-Shooter. The new Puppet Master action figures are attacking your toy and specialty stores now. For more information, check out the Full Moon Toys website at fullmoontoys.com.
And we're back. You guys, we've been talking all month about horror production companies and everything, and this time it is Full Moon Pictures. I also said you could do Empire Pictures if you wanted to, but I'm introducing a new twist to the way we do this. Those of you who spoke to me at the festival will appreciate this.
Oh, no.
I have in my hand an egg timer.
Oh, God.
That I'm going to set to 10 minutes, and that is how long we each get to talk about our films. And I'm starting right now.
Oh, my God.
All right,
I don't
guys.
like this at all.
My film is Dollman from 1991.
On the planet Arcturus, he's the toughest cop around.
That's a Kruger Blaster, most powerful hacker in the universe.
That's right, fat boy.
What do you want, asshole?
Nothing.
You're just gonna walk away?
On the planet Earth, he's 13 inches tall.
Oh, fuck!
That's about the size of it.
Can we keep it?
Homies together. I'm going to war. With who? The fucking doll man. Who else? Hey, you in the wrong neighborhood? Urban fucking renewal.
Dollman, 13 inches with an attitude.
You guys ever see this?
We're going to hear that ticking all the way through.
Yes, I hope so.
Okay.
I hope not.
Dollman, all right, go.
Budget? No idea. Box office? No information. Rotten Tomatoes critics have it at 50%, and the audience is like, fuck you. 34%. This is directed by Albert Pyun. He has 56 credits, including Cyborg, Nemesis,
Oh.
something called Cyborg Nemesis, which I can only imagine is a mashup of his 2 previous films.
You just recut them.
And then a movie called Road to Hell that I know our friend Craig loves, and I liked when I finally saw it.
Nice.
This was written by Charles Band. He is the founder of Empire Pictures and Full Moon Entertainment. 358 producer credits, 73 directing credits, and 61 writing credits. Almost all of them trash.
Cool.
This was also written by Charles and Ed Naha, who wrote Chud 2, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Troll, Dolls. And it stars Tim Thomerson, 208 credits. He was in Trancers, Cherry 2000, Nemesis. I will always remember him. He was the dad in Near Dark.
Oh, nice.
Jackie Earl Haley.
Oh.
Yeah, 63 credits, including Damnation Alley, Bad News Bears. He was Rorschach in The Watchmen. He was the new Freddy in Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Poor guy.
My favorite of him is Breaking Away, of course. Do you know who I'm talking about, Vanessa? Can you picture this guy?
I mean, I'm only picturing Rorschach, and that's not helpful.
Yeah, no, that doesn't really show
He
him.
is, this is going to be mean.
Yeah.
He is a very unattractive man. He was an unattractive kid. He's a very unlikely actor who's been in some big films. There's something about him that makes me want to just punch him in the face so bad.
Okay.
He just
I've
looks.
got Eisenberg.
Got a
in
weaselly rat face. Yeah. And I sure hope he does not listen to this show.
here. Oh, no, he doesn't now.
Also stars Kamala Lopez or Kamala Lopez. I've heard it both ways in my life. I have no idea how she pronounces hers.
There you go.
69 credits, mostly TV, but she was also in I Heart Huckabees, Lightning Jack, and something called Night Children, which I can only hope is horror.
That'd be so cool.
So when's the bomb going to go off?
I'm in a Hitchcock
Oh man, I only
movie.
got 7 minutes. You guys shut up. So we're introduced to this new planet that looks a lot like Earth, which is always a little disappointing because I'm like, how hard would it have been to put signs that have like a different looking language over the signs that have English on them? It's like this different planet evolved exactly the way we did, only far superior in their technology, but they learned English and all that stuff too. There is a criminal that has been chased into a laundromat, and he has found a bunch of people there, and he takes them hostage, right?
Cool.
So these are very large people, and I only mention this because it becomes part of the plot.
Oh, God.
Enter Brick Bardo, who is basically Dirty Harry Callahan. He comes into the laundromat carrying his laundry basket and a box of soap. And while this guy is standing there with a gun, he surrounded himself with all these very large people. And Brick decides he's going to do laundry there.
Cool.
Yeah. And the guy says, what are you going to do about this? I've got these people here. You can't shoot them and all this stuff. And Bardo comes up and he's like, hey, fat boy. And he's talking to this kid and all of this stuff. And he says, I'm going to put my gun up against this fat chick's head right here. I'm going to blow a bullet right through her head. It's going to go right through your head. And then it's going to go through the fat chick behind yours head. And they all start to panic. He's got them roped around him, right? He's like in the center of this donut of very large people. And they all start to panic, and they squish and squeeze him, and it falls over, and that's how Brick gets him. It's really stupid.
Oh, my God.
Wasn't there like a serial killer movie where a guy did that? He tied them all together. It's like one of those super artsy ones.
I don't remember that.
Man, I have to. Sorry, continue. I will look.
Bardo
5 minutes.
gets kidnapped by his greatest enemy, who's just a floating head.
Okay.
And there's a big, huge fight scene where his gun just blows people up. He points his gun at them, and they literally explode. But then the floating head guy escapes into this energy field surrounding the planet, and Bardo follows him. For some reason, they land on Earth. So in the Bronx, we're introduced to Braxton Red and his gang who control the neighborhoods, and Debbie, a single mom, trying to get police to do more. So Braxton has his guys kidnap Debbie, and they take her to this industrial area where they're going to kill her. But that's coincidentally where Brick's little spaceship landed. And so he attacks these goons. But his awesome gun is basically just a regular gun because of its size. Because you guys, he's only 6 inches tall when he lands on Earth. He's a doll man. From here, it's very silly, familiar territory. The gangsters come for revenge. In one scene, Brick takes them all out. And it looks like everything is cool. Debbie, of course, introduces Brick to her young son, who is infatuated with him because he looks like a toy. But then Braxton meets up with Brick's enemy, the floating head, which is, this tiny little floating head now on Earth. And this guy takes over the gang and leads them into a climax. It's a big shootout and all of that. It's a really stupid movie. I had a ton of fun with it.
Oh, good.
The writing is bad, but the acting is fine, a little campy. But I think that everybody knows exactly what movie they're in here, so it's fine.
Full moon.
A lot of the effects are really bad because it's reverse screen projection, and none of the lighting on the actor matches the lighting on the scene he's in. So it just screams late 80s, early 90s straight to video.
Oh, my God.
I liked it so much I watched Doll Man versus Demonic Toys afterwards, and that is straight up trash.
Oh, bummer. I was right.
Yeah?
Lars Van Trier might have borrowed from Doll Man for the house that Jack built, because he does a thing where he strings all of his victims together to see, like, I don't know if he's trying to see how far the bullet will go killing all of them, but he does that exact thing.
Oh my God.
Okay, well,
Weird.
That would be awesome. If I was Charles Band, I'd go, guess what, guys?
I have a little bit of trivia here. This is one of the many occasions director Albert Pune has used the name Brick Bardo. He also used it for a minor antagonist in the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie Cyborg.
Cool.
And he first used it in something called Radioactive Dreams.
It's not the same guy. It's not the same character. It's just the same name.
No, that's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's used the name. For whatever he thinks that is a fantastic name.
Wow. It's not.
It's got a really bad rhyming scheme going on there, too.
Sounds very clunky.
The trailer for this film uses the music from the movie RoboCop.
Wow.
I would say that is a better choice.
That's ballsy.
But even ballsier, in the first 15 minutes, the footage of the city on Arcturus is the name of the planet, not Arcturus, which is an actual heavenly body of some kind. Arcturus, the footage of the city are recycled shots of New Chicago from the 70s series Buck Rogers in the 25th century.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I was sure you were going to say like Superman or something.
Which is often frequently stolen from Battlestar Galactica.
Right. Now I'm going to fuck up this, how it's pronounced. This movie is part of the notorious German Schlafphaz series, which means it was aired August 2020 on German TV station Tele 5. Schlafphaz is a German abbreviation. It means the worst films ever. And in that series, two hosts present the whole flick and make fun of it throughout the movie.
That's beautiful. Way to go, Germans.
Yeah, German Mystery 3000 there.
I actually would say that I would recommend this film, and it was a surprise to me. I started watching something else. Oh, I started watching the original Demonic Toys.
Oh.
Trash. Just garbage. So I'm just watching this countdown now. I want to see what this sounds like when it finally goes off.
Oh, God.
How loud will this be, you
Close
guys?
to being done.
Yes. Oh, my
It's
goodness,
very
you guys.
close.
I managed to get it in under my 10 minutes.
I was going to say, can you just throw us more trivia? Or
There's not a lot of trivia that I thought was interesting in this. So
yeah, that's true of a lot of the full moon ones.
yeah.
So he starts off being from another planet though, and so this is firmly sci-fi.
Well, they all speak English there.
Well, you
It's
know.
not that sci-fi.
Well, but he's like got a ship and he's small. I
Yes.
guess.
But
So-
the planet, everybody is that size.
That size, so it's just like a
it's like the
normal scene.
Micronauts. Oh my God, you guys!
Wow, startling.
Oh, Lord in heaven.
No. I'll
Yo.
tell you what. For mine, I'm just gonna put on my own timer on my phone.
Oh no, you're not. I spent
He's-
$4 on this.
He's gonna torture all of us.
I hate everything.
All right, are you ready, Vanessa?
Hold on.
Because here we go.
All right. So, my full moon picture was a film that I had not seen. Don't make it closer to me. Jeez Louise. Okay. My full moon picture was the 1985 film Ghoulies.
Jonathan is having a housewarming party.
Whoa! What do you guys want to do?
Well, we could play hide and go seek.
Yeah.
What about Trivial Pursuit?
Yeah.
Strip poker.
Yeah.
I got an idea. Let's do a ritual.
Bow hey. Yod hey, bow hey. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself. Hey, knock it off. Come, I order thee. In the name of the most holy Trinity. Come, I order thee.
Well, that was fun.
No, wait. I need to dismiss the spirit. So do I. Where's the bathroom? Upstairs.
Unfortunately, there will be some surprise guests. They have very bad manners. And they have no respect for privacy. They'll wake up the neighbors.
What the hell's in there?
And they never take no for an answer.
Man, that chick is really a screamer.
Ghoulies. Once they show up, you can never get rid of them. Ghoulies. They'll get you in the end.
Oh my.
Like I like Ghoulies.
I'm excited about this. Well, the reason why I chose it is because I'm actually in a film that I'm gonna watch at the end of October, and my scene is kind of based off of Ghoulies, and so
Oh,
I'm very
shit.
excited to check it out,
Okay.
which is the WNUF sequel. So,
Ah.
yeah. So I have not yet watched it, and I wanted to know what the reference was. Anyways, I had a green screen, so I did not know. I watched this for free with a temporary Showtime subscription. You too can check it out. This has an 8% from critics and a 20% from the audience on Rotten Tomatoes. However, the budget, which was $5.5 million, actually brought in a box office of $35 million.
Whoa.
Not too shabby.
Not
Oh.
too shabby. Actually did pretty good.
Yeah.
Written and directed by Luca Bervucci, who has 10 credits to his name, including Rockula, Dark Tide, and Luck of the Draw.
Nice.
He's actually acted in 71 projects, including mostly TV walk-ons. He's produced 26 things, including 12 Monkeys, the TV show. So he does a lot of stuff.
Still working then.
Yes. And co-written by Jeffrey Lovey, who has 14 credits to his name, including Drive, SFW, and also Rockula. This movie is starring Peter Lipas, who has 23 credits to his name, including Wishmaster as pharmacy customer number 1, Ghoulies 1 through 4 as Jonathan, Wanted, Alone with a Stranger, Romance Theater as Nick, also starring Lisa Pelican, who has been in 55 things, including Lionheart with Van Damme, Return to the Blue Lagoon, Julia, Jennifer, and a lot of TV walk-on roles. Michael DeBars, 113 credits, including host of Little Steven's Underground Garage on Sirius XM, starred in Duran Duran spinoff group, a Duran Duran spinoff group, The Power Station. Also,
Great album.
also Checkered Past and Wrong Song, Song Obsession. Starred in To Sir with Love, The Man from Elysian Fields, and Diary of a Sex Addict.
Oh.
So kind of a rock star kind of dude. And we also have randomly Jack Nance, who's been in 40 things, including Pete Martell from Twin Peaks, and Marquiska Haggerty, who's been in 55 things, but you might know her as 23 Years of Law and Order. So the story is a group of puppets, aka ghoulies, I guess. No one really says. And people in white robes have gathered together amongst a sea of candles and giant ghoulie statue to watch a dude with white hair and green eyes perform a ritual of some kind. This is a very special night, apparently. And he is handed a baby, the product of him and one of his cult members. The baby is special, he says, I guess, and they need to sacrifice him for some reason. The mom, who is one of the cult members, suddenly is very surprised that the baby is being put on altar, says, "You promised not to kill him." I guess they made an agreement earlier at some stage. But he has her taken away and basically like held down as he gets ready to bring the knife to the child. Right as he's about to stab him, he gets zapped. The child is somehow protected. Who knows how? Sex, blood, magic, I guess. He asks one of his cult members, Pete Martell, to take the kid away and get rid of it. They still have to do a sacrifice, though, so he goes ahead and grabs the chick who is tied up. He lets the creature start to eat her hands, and a chest burster kind of comes through her front, which we don't fully see. We just sort of see her chest rippling. But we know it happens because one of the ghoulies, who's a bystander, shades his vision from the gruesome sight and looks away. So, cut to many years later, we have a VO telling us that the cult leader was the cause of his own undoing and is now dead. The child was raised in secret by that other cultist guy, Wolfgang, who brought him away, who's now the caretaker of the large estate. Jonathan Graves, who's the son, fully grown, is now a college kid, even though he looks like he's in his 40s. He's inherited this place and is moving out there with his girlfriend, Rebecca. They walk around the estate carefree, passing by an oddly sunken gravestone that will not come back later. Wolfgang muses about the death of his father and the curse that should just pass on forever and not affect anyone at all moving forward. I guess there's a curse. I don't know. This has not been established. But instead, throughout the movie, the the call of becoming a cult leader. This is really stressful, guys. The call of
See, the part that's interesting, and unfortunately we don't do video, so you can't see the squirming nature of
Her
Vanessa
eyes
right now.
flicking nervously to the egg timer.
It's true. It's very large and it's white and it's very imposing. The letters are big because I think Kelly's vision is bad.
Well, that is true.
It's an oversized egg timer and it's right in front of me. And now I've got less than 5 minutes. Okay. So, anyway, he has a goal of becoming a cult leader that's very strong and he can't help himself. And he finds that he's just constantly trying to like do these strange spells and he gets really obsessed with it and he drops out of school and he holds a dinner party where a bunch of his friends show up that are fun, wacky characters that I want to spend zero time with. That's okay. This entire film should just be about them hanging out at this wacky party. But no, the party disbands. We spend about 40 minutes watching him wander around trying to become into cults, I guess, and then has the party again and artificially recreates it, but this time with ghoulies and craziness and lots of death. Anyway, this film has a great use of puppets. It has a really fun kind of build around those set pieces. The party scenes and the characters are generally intolerable as a whole. I hated all of them, except one fun scene where Jonathan decides to make them all wear sunglasses at night at a dinner table. And they're all very wildly different sunglasses. Some are steampunk, some have little windshield wipers on them, and it makes no sense, and it's pretty fun. General thoughts, the toilet on the movie poster is a lie.
Oh.
It's such bullshit. Like, a ghoulie pops in it for, like, I don't know, a second and a half in a montage of ghoulies. He does not have on a t-shirt or suspenders, which is shown in the movie poster, so that sucks.
Shenanigans.
He's just a normal ghoulie. There's no payoff. The music is awful through the whole film. Most of the characters are pointless, especially the girls who have no character traits, including things like get drunk or high and like to be gropey on women. They don't even get that. They just get to wear clothes. So that's cool sometimes. But then again, the plot is also pointless. I have no idea what is going on, why anyone is doing anything. Jonathan probably shouldn't have dropped out of college, I guess, but I don't know what he was trying to do in college anyway, so it depends on his major. I don't know why his dad may or may not want to come back from the dead to take back over this cult to do something. I don't know. There's just ghoulies everywhere, but the monsters are fun, and that's pretty neat. There are also, I don't know which ones are the ghoulies and which ones are not ghoulies. There are two little people who are knights. Some of them are green, some are white. Not sure. At the end, there's a big fight between good and evil, which is Wolfgang and his ghost dad. It's weird, makes no sense. And he says, run. And then they stand there and don't run. And then eventually they run and it's over. And I'm like, that was a movie. Cool. Trivia. Originally planned.
Shut up! Stop talking. Let me go.
I've got 1 minute left. Trivia. Originally planned to be filmed in 3D and actually began production in 3D. The audience would put on their glasses every time the characters put on sunglasses, which is when the film would change from 2D to 3D. That was their visual clue, which is why random scenes in this have people wearing sunglasses, but they didn't end up doing it. So now there's just random sunglass scenes throughout. The 1986 movie Critters had a scene where a critter comes out of a toilet as an homage to this film.
Oh, God, why?
I know. According to Charles Band, he and other staff members in the movie received a ton of hate mail in response to the TV trailer and the poster for this movie because there is a ghoulie popping out of the toilet, which caused several angry mothers to write letters to the studio saying that kids were too scared to go to the bathroom after seeing the poster. Jeffrey Combs auditioned to be the star, Jonathan Graves. Did not get it. Original concept for the film had a very different final product. It was going to be about
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Vanessa.
You know what? You are great under pressure. That was impressive.
Let's talk a little bit about this movie.
Okay.
First of all, I guess I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I thought I had
It sounded familiar.
Yeah.
This doesn't have Wasp music throughout? Hard rock, heavy metal?
I don't think so. Why is it still ticking? Oh my God, I'm really stressed out right now. Can I put it under my shirt so it's muted?
No.
Okay. Can you put it under a hat so it's muted?
I
Can we put it
guess
in the
maybe
fridge so it's
maybe I
muted?
saw Ghoulies 2.
You
Could
might
be.
have.
I didn't even realize this was a full moon. For some reason, it didn't strike me as a full moon one. But
Yeah.
gee, yeah, critters, ghoulies. I've seen all the critters. I thought I'd seen some of the ghoulies. I guess not.
There
I
are
know I
4.
saw one that had the song "Scream Until You Like It"
Oh.
from Wasp in it.
I thought that was critters.
No, that's Ghoulies 2, I
That's
guess.
ghoulies? Okay.
Yeah.
Which also has a poster of a ghoulie coming out of the toilet. That is apparently their
So
trademark.
maybe there are two ghoulies coming out of one toilet that will never show up in the film. I'm hopeful that in the second movie there is actually a ghoulie coming out of a toilet to do something. He doesn't even like bite anyone in the butt. There's no bathroom scene.
It seems like that would be the only reason for something
Right?
to come out of the toilet.
Why would he be in the toilet at all?
What a great way to get whatever asshole male character you've got taken care of.
Right?
Right.
Immediately. There are so many intolerable male characters in this movie. Any one of them
Right on the nuts.
would have been great.
Vanessa,
Didn't do
was
it.
there any other trivia you wanted to get out?
I mean, it definitely didn't there's nothing that I'm worth talking about, you guys. There's a lot of weird, funny quotes, I would say, from Charles Band saying like, "Oh yeah, this was my idea. Oh no, it was definitely not my idea. Oh, this fell apart because of something that had nothing to do with me." It's just very funny how he will change the story to basically make it work for him. So, yeah, no, there's nothing terribly exciting.
I think this is a good segue for Eric to tell us all about his Charles Band.
I first met Charles Band at Horror Find, where I got the subspecies stuff signed by him, and he was fairly nice and personable and seemed pretty cool. Forward a few months later, and we're screening at Dragon Con for our film, and I see Charles Band's giving a talk on the future of low budget movies or how to make low budget films or something. I'm going, great, I'm going to this because obviously this guy knows what he's doing. Well, this was happening at about the time when Netflix was really kicking in and starting to knock out mom and pop stores, and Blockbusters were starting to close. And
Right, back before streaming, but when Netflix was doing the mail away for...
exactly. So
Yeah.
you still had something going on, and wow, he was a bitter son of a bitch. He was very much like, I don't know why I'm in this business. None of you should want to get into this business. It's so hard. I don't know how I'm going to be making money 5 years from now. I don't see a path forward.
Wow.
For me.
Cue a 14-year-old in the back crying.
And that was his
make the
talk.
bad man stop.
That was his talk for the whole hour, was just, don't do this. It's terrible. I've ruined my life. And
feel like
I'm done. And he's got a shit ton of films now that have come out since then.
Yeah, but let's face it. These movies are garbage.
Oh, yeah.
They
And the
are.
newer ones are even worse.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that he had something going on there, but he is his own worst enemy as far as his success has gone.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I feel like there is a big when I got out of film school, that feeling was in the air, and there were a lot of people I remember giving talks about like, I don't know what the future is, and there was a lot of that kind of going around. But I would say the film industry is definitely, I don't know, you make opportunity where stuff shows
Yeah,
up.
the-
I don't know how musicians make money at this point. I think that whole industry is
Yeah,
still
selling
floundering.
T-shirts. The film industry does it whenever a new technology comes out. TV comes out, oh, it's going to destroy films forever. Video stores come out, oh, it's going to destroy film, whatever. It's just the old guard panicking and freaking out and not knowing. And that's exactly what he was doing. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, able to make money anymore.
My God, it's not like anybody will crop up to help me sell my DVDs, like, I don't know, Shout Factory or Vinegar Syndrome or some other,
he's got his own
schlock.
He's got
Everything
his
has
own
a
site
place.
now too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a place, and you just have to figure out what that place is and make room for yourself within it.
He also, he's not doing himself any favors by doing haunted bong movies and shit like that.
Right? Yeah. Intolerable
Junk.
junk.
Yeah.
Eric, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, I'm loving this, by the way.
Yeah, no, you are great under pressure. I'm serious. It was pretty cool.
Okay. I don't believe you for a second.
That's
Go
fine. Anyways, movies I saw. Head of the Family.
Holy shit. You must have took a wrong turn.
Honey, there ain't no turns off this highway.
What was it, Lance? What did you see back there?
I saw the light, honey. I saw the light.
You've met my brothers and my sister, Mr. Bogan. I don't believe we've ever met. My name is Myron Stackpool. I'm pardon the expression, the head of the family. We Stackpools all have our peculiarities.
You made them folks downstairs go away. I want you to do the same thing for Howard Oates. You make him go away.
And you aren't at all concerned about my subjects down in the basement?
Letting you do what you do, just letting you stay around and keeping my mouth shut, that's a price to me. A man takes a risk, why he ought to get paid for it. Seems reasonable to me.
You press too hard and you make it worth it for me to employ desperate measures. I'm not normally a vindictive person, but in your case, I'm going to make an exception.
1996. So this is sort of after his super heyday, but before he fell into his massive pit of despair. His Rotten Tomatoes had no critic score, 34 from the crowd. This was directed by Robert Talbot, or Charles Band.
Oh, interesting.
No.
He had 3 different names he directed films under.
And was this like because he was embarrassed?
I don't know if he's trying to see more like disconnecting from
Right.
stuff. You might know Charles Band from Barbie and Kendra Storm Area 51, Gingerbread Man versus Evil Bong, Ooga Booga, and of course, as before mentioned, the Evil Bong series of films.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
There's like 5 of them or something. Written by Neil Marshall Stevens, who did the screenplay, also wrote 13 Ghosts, Puppet Master Axis Termination from 2017, and Devil Dolls.
Oh, boy.
We've talked about these.
The story from Charles Band. He also provided story ideas for the Gingerweed Man Goes to France,
Jesus Christ.
Evil Bong 888, Infinity High, Ouija's,
What does that mean?
WEED, or Ouija's, Hallowed Night, and of course, all the Evil Bong movies.
Next time I see a pile of Ouija boards, I'm going to be like, Ouija's.
Starring Blake Adams, who's in K911, Stay Cool, and a ton of, Lurking Fear. So, that's kind of nice.
Right.
Jacqueline Lovell, who's in lots of television, Animal Instincts 3, and Forrest Gump as an uncredited football fan.
Oh, boy.
My favorite role.
She went on to publish Babe magazine and wrote for Femme Fatales magazine in the 90s. Bob Schott, who was in Gymkata,
Yes.
Vamp, Blood Fist 3, Forced to Fight, Fear, and Russ Meyer's Up. This was Van Epperson, who was in Green Mile, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Next Generation, Star Trek Enterprise, and Babe, Pig of the City. He was like aliens and all 3.
Oh, okay. I was like, which one?
The full moon logo. Now you know you're in for something. Something. And of course, immediately followed by the insanely long credits that every full moon movie has. I think this one was almost 2 minutes long. This starts off with, hey, here's our characters. Here's our dumb, tough guy who's borderline abusive. Well, not borderline abusive to his wife. And then the guy that she's having an affair with in the back room of the restaurant where the couple is having dinner. And he's supposed to be the smart guy. Say what you will of that. He's the smart guy in a full moon movie. So, and then we get introduced to the three odd folks that come in: a big, strong guy, a woman dressed in lingerie, and a dude wearing sunglasses. And these are the strange people because everybody kind of like, oh, just help them, get them out of here. They all move in a weird synchronicity and do things together. So the movie, how to describe this film? The main thing is the head guy.
I've seen the picture.
And he's a giant head. He sort of looks like, MODOK from Marvel. And
a lot of floating heads going on.
He controls these three people. There's his eyes and mouth, who's the guy with the glasses. There's his strong man, and then there's the lady who he has other uses for, is how he implies that he doesn't really say what those uses are. It's hard to figure out.
She's good at the math.
Considering she's a blonde in lingerie with, well, like I like to say, giant boobs.
Oh.
They have a lovely love story between Lance and Loretta, who are the couple having the affair. It's just sweet and boring. There's a whole twist storyline between her husband, who sets up a con deal that's going to use the guy she's having an affair with to do this other stuff, then leads to but then the head guys kidnap the husband, and he sees the guy she's having an affair with sees a way to mess with the people who kidnapped him, which was the head family. Why? Because the head wants a body.
Oh.
This is Shakespeare shit, man. I gotta tell you. The most famous scene from this film, and the lead lady who published Babe magazine is also an adult film star, apparently. And so buckets of nudity in this movie. It was almost all her, but it's like, I don't think I've ever seen a full moon movie with more naked women. She must have walked on set and said, can I get naked in this scene too? Because
hold on, I'm pulling out my pen and paper.
Write this one down.
Note.
They do have a stylistic recreation of the burning of Joan of Arc.
Oh.
Cool.
Where the guys where the head has captured and tried to turn into bodies and they failed, but they're still around. So he uses them in plays apparently. And so there's that. Anyways, the strangest moment in the film is they've been kidnapped and she is trying to seduce the head into thinking that she thinks smart guys are great and she really loves him because he's a smart guy, obviously. He takes his tongue out and it goes out and out and out and out, licks her, and then goes back.
Okay.
It's really fair. It's not as gross as I thought from the reading it, but it is still pretty gross.
Are we talking 6 feet long?
3 or 4 feet.
Okay.
Because the head guy just sits in a wheelchair, so he can't really move. Oh, the Joan of Arc performance. I got to tell you, Tony, you'll like this one. I felt like I was watching an Andy Mulligan movie.
Wow.
The costuming was so bad. The acting was so weird.
Oh, no.
It's like, oh my God, this scene is right out of something Andy Mulligan would do for real as a movie. All of that being said, overall, this is one of the better full moon movies. The acting's decent. There's some really good, funny, stupid lines. It moves at a nice pace considering very little happens. So it's fine. It has taglines. Upset the head and you're dead.
Ooh.
Mastermind of death. And head is better in high definition.
Oh.
Back of the DVD box for that one. The visual style of the film was inspired by the Munsters and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Which I did not see at all. I guess the house might be Munsters reminiscent. I have no idea what they took from the Turtles.
The sound or the set? Who knows?
No.
Okay, mystery.
There's no real, it's not a city. There's no sewers. So I don't know.
Weird. Okay.
On the DVD release of the film, clicking on the Blake Bailey's biography revealed that he is an alien from Uranus who was brought to Earth to negotiate a deal with Full Moon Features where he would act in exchange for needed supplies for Uranus. In 2020, Bride of the Head of the Family was released.
Oh.
To absolutely no notice. Did not know it existed. Most of the effects are forced perspective because it's a giant head and people interacting with it. Except for the tongue. The tongue was real. Real physical practical effect. The tongue was 3 foot long, a monstrous latex thing slathered in KY jelly to make it slimy and shiny. Lived on a platform that established it.
Oh, I'm sorry,
And
Eric. Your time is up.
You're never going to find out how it worked.
I want to know.
Yes, of course. Finish.
Okay. Cables came out of the back of the tongue and fed into a system of pulleys and levers. Took 3 people working those pulleys and levers to bring it to life. And those guys literally had to practice for hours to perform the realistic licking motion that was 5 seconds of screen time.
Wow. Unreal.
This is clearly a movie they had the title for before they had the story, right?
Oh, God, it's had to be, yes. Oh, Head of the Family. I love this.
Yeah. I was a little bummed because you said you were going to do this when I was thinking about doing this.
Oh, were you?
So,
Okay.
But I feel like I might have gotten the better of the two films.
I think you did. Saying this is a better full moon film is not high praise.
Did you have a good time with it at least?
Yeah, it was fun to watch.
Okay.
Yeah, because the performances were all good enough that and there was enough of, hold on, what is going on?
Right.
Kept you intrigued.
Did you say it was financially successful?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Did you, Vanessa, have a good time with your movie at least?
Well, I didn't feel the need to leave. I wasn't mad. I thought it was a little boring.
You didn't immediately put on Ghoulies 2, though. You were like, I got to see what happens next.
I was like, I'm pretty... Well, the problem was, like, there was such a strong setup, and then there was so, like, it was so poorly paced between, we're going to have a party. Now we're just going to disband the party, having random shit happen for months at a time that really doesn't mean anything, and then lead up again to the exact same point we were at. So it just had this weird lull in the middle that I was like, where are the crazy ghoulies?
I have a question I should have asked after you were talking about your film. At the beginning, you said there were like people mixed in with the ghoulies.
Yeah.
The ghoulies are not the little demons?
I don't know. They're not clear. So I think ghoulies are the little demons, but there are multiple kinds of demons, including small humans and green ghoulies and white ghoulies. And I assume I think the creatures are the ghoulies, probably. And then, but the other guys might be time travelers that are I don't know. They're from an alternate dimension. And then there's humans that are like the cultists that hang out with the ghoulies.
Right.
That are, I don't know. No one ever says what a ghoulie is or how you have a ghoulie or why you have a cult. So I'm not clear on the rules.
Ooh, we went highbrow for this episode.
I feel like I won because Dahlman was at least fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like, I mean, I just don't enjoy like the intolerable characters that show up at 80s parties where they didn't bother to write anything.
Yeah.
That isn't fun. Hey, look at our girl's tits. They're huge. I'm going to try to get with her for the next 10 minutes.
Right.
Like,
I hate that too.
I know I am alone in this category. So.
Well, okay. So who's got the next pick? I think that's Eric.
Yeah, I think it's mine. We're going to modern this up a little bit to a controversial level of a lot of people seem to hate everything these people put out, even though they put out some damn good films, to be honest. We're going to talk Blumhouse.
Oh, I'm doing Halloween Ends.
I'm going to do Get Out, one of their trashy titles.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Well, I like that. This is the part where I thank everybody for liking and sharing posts, participating in the Value for Value model. We really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, we do.
Got some feedback, obviously, you heard while I was down at the Lovecraft Film Festival.
Apparently we talked too long, I guess.
Maybe tidying up the show a little bit. A lot of people
fans.
think we
appreciate you.
We might give away too much of every film we talk about. So I thought that this was a fun thing. And listener, I sprung this on both of them. They had no idea I was doing this. I had a wonderful time with it.
I feel like there's such a thing called constructive criticism, and I don't know that this is a category.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Oh my God. Why?
When you pulled that, I was like, oh, what the fuck is this? You're actually going to turn on this ticking thing.
And she's not wrong. It is a gigantic egg
so
timer
weird.
with big red line that counts down each minute.
It's on the other side of the tape. I don't even have great vision, and I can see this sucker pretty darn clearly.
Eric, how can people reach us if they want to leave us a message?
We have got our 200th episode coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
This is 198, so you can do the math.
Well, I can't, but I assume most people can.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my God, 198 guys. Holy snap.
So we have a number. We have a phone number. This is just leave a voicemail. Nobody's going to pick up and talk to you at it. But you can leave a voicemail for us at area code 313-427-9559. Again, that's 313-427-9559.
Call us, leave us a message. Also, let us know if we're okay playing your message on the air, perhaps.
Yeah.
Let us know if we can use your name, all of that stuff.
We'd love to have some of you call in with thoughts and ideas on how much you love the timer for the 200th episode, or other things you like, or
anything you want to say. It doesn't have to be about the timer.
It definitely does not. It's 200 episodes. If you want to go up and say, God, I love the way you guys were in episode 5. Why aren't you still like that?
It's because they added me.
I'd say thank you for still listening.
And you hate women.
Oh.
No, I'm excited. I can't wait to hear what people say. Just out of curiosity, does that number spell out anything, or is that just random?
No, it's random.
Bummer.
The real random thing is that area code. I'm like, where the fuck is that?
I don't know, man. It's like a Google phone number or something.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, guys, that is the show. We are going to be back in 7 short days, and we're talking Blumhouse films. Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio, produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
I hate everything.